Hi, East Broadway. My name is Thomas Christopher.
And I'm Willinzy Jonri.
And today we'll be talking about Frankenstein. So about 2-3 weeks ago, I saw Frankenstein off-Broadway at St. Luke's Theater. Book, lyrics, and music by Eric B. Sirota. It was directed by Clint Humroso. So I will admit, I'll start this with the admittance of I didn't read the novel. I didn't read the Mary Shelley novel.
But I did.
Alright. So, quick plot summary for the people. We know the man, the legend, Frankenstein, Victor.
That's actually not the monster, though. That's the person.
True.
They always call it Frankenstein, but the monster's just the monster.
Clarification necessary. Okay, so Frankenstein, Victor Frankenstein, is a scientist, comes back home to start this grand project of his, of essentially working on how to make humans immortal. And he starts that by creating the monster. So the monster is like dead.
It's basically corpses put together.
Right. And the course of the musical is him talking to like the audience about all of the stuff that's happened before, I guess, his inevitable demise. So the book. Let's talk about like differences. I think it's primarily
the ending. Yeah.
But I do feel like the musical might give more character elements to the monster and Elizabeth, Frankenstein's wife.
Probably Elizabeth. The monster's a good deal of stuff because the monster pretty much drives the plot forward.
Right.
But I could see them adding more character elements.
Well, my favorite parts of the show were actually when Elizabeth and the monster, played by Kylie and J.C. McCain, like respectively, they both got a lot to like say. During their songs, is basically Elizabeth talks about her sort of frustration with her husband, that because like after he creates Frankenstein, he's sort of wrapped up and obsessed with that creation, that he doesn't spend any time with her. So her songs are all about like the life she wished she had. And then when the monster is finally introduced at the end of the first act, all of his songs are about sort of his loss of, I don't know if loss of self is a good way to say it, but like he wishes for a partner, like someone to share in his solidarity, like this life he has.
He wants love. That's what it was. He wants companionship because he's alone.
Yeah. So yeah. Those were my favorite parts because those actors did a great job musically. My only gripe with the show, and of course I'm harping on the music because I didn't expect this to be a musical. Sometimes during duets, like a certain actor would be really strong, and another actor would sort of was too soft, and that kind of ruined, like, I guess the emotional bits of some of the story. But overall, I was pleasantly surprised. Like I didn't have anything going into it. So yeah, again, so we're focusing on the ending of the story. In the book, how does it end?
The book ends in the Arctic with Frankenstein telling the sea fisherman basically that he was found by the whole story, and then he dies. And then the monster finds him and basically goes like, "Now my father's dead. I have no place in the world. I will now disappear from the world with him," type of deal.
So sort of similar. It's sort of the ending really gets going after Elizabeth is killed by the monster, and then the monster heads back to Frankenstein's lab, and of course Frankenstein shows up prepared to kill the monster, and instead of him dying of a fever, Frankenstein is killed by the monster. And at the end of that, he has this whole soliloquy about like life and like sort of the creation, his creation, in like a religious setting of like God creating man, and then he burns down the lab, killing himself. Okay, so we talked about some other elements of the musical and the book that match, but in terms of the ending, I think the musical's ending is a slight bit different in the book.
Different locations.
Different locations, true.
But the meaning is still the same.
The meaning is still the same. Also, like I guess the meaning as a whole, talking about sort of Frankenstein, the monster's creation, and how he has a problem with like sort of him being like a false being.
How it was created, but for what?
It's kind of similar to like, I don't know, like the whole artificial intelligence conversation, or
it was like Westworld's theme.
Or like the Terminator. Final thoughts. I really like the musical. I hope it's still on its show run. Again, St. Luke's Theater, and I would recommend this if you either have read the book, or you're just ready to see something a little bit different.
You're ready to learn the story of Frankenstein, and see how it inspired like all this other stuff.
Again, great singing. This has been our review of Frankenstein. Again, my name is Thomas Christopher.
And I'm Willinzy Jonri.
Until next time, it's Broadway.